Bullies are predators. Predators don't look for anyone they can find. They don't look for any target. Predators look for easy targets. And therefore also the bully looks for the easiest target he can find. If you are such that would fight back, he wouldn't bother with you. He would look for somebody else that he knows and feels that would not fight him back. He would be defenseless. He looks for the body language that shows weakness. He looks for those that don't have a stand that is firm and tall. The hands are on the weak side. The eyes don't look straight to the other person. There's no eye contact. There's no structure of firmness to their face. And therefore all this tells him that this person might have a low self-esteem, and therefore he's an easy target to get. The predator also will look that the target is such that doesn't have friends. He doesn't have those that might help him out, might protect him. He's alone. The loner is the best target. Moreover, if he can find somebody that's strange in any way, that would be perfect for him. All those things radiate to the bully that this person is the one I'm trying to bully, I'm trying to harass, I'm trying to abuse, and he'll go and get his target. And he wouldn't let go if the person does not try to fight back, and he would weaken the target by the day, slowly breaking him down. We found this very idea in our Parashat Beshalach, in the beginning and at the end. The two worst bullies in the Torah are in this parasha. The first bully is Paro. Paro doesn't look for anybody to target. He looks at the time that Am Yisrael are at a weakness state. And therefore, when Am Yisrael are such in a place that Sagar alehem hamidbar, nevuchim em ba'aretz, says Paro, they are lost in the desert. They don't know where to go. They lost direction. That's when Paro senses that it's the time to go and get them. Exactly like that bully, this predator is looking for weakness. Whenever the person is lost, whenever a person is on a weak state, that is when he would go and target him, go and hunt him, go and get him. This is exactly the time Paro is looking for. He looks for when Am Yisrael are weak, they are lost, that's when he's after them. Also in the end of the parasha, we found the parasha of Amalek. Amalek is looking for the weak. In our parasha, it's not so clear, although the parasha tells us the story of Amalek, but in the end of parasha Ki Tetzeh, the Torah tells us what happened in our parasha. It gives more insight. And it tells and says the following. It says, Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek b'derech b'tzatchem miMitzrayim. Remember, when you came out of Mitzrayim, Amalek was after you. Why? Asher karcha b'derech v'yizanef b'cha kol hanechashalim acharecha ve'ata ayef ve'yagea. Who did he target? Kol hanechashalim acharecha. Nechashalim is lashon nechlashim, weak. He went after the weak at the time that they are ayef ve'yagea. They're tired, they're weak, they are exhausted. Ayef ve'yagea. That is the greatest time, that's the best time to go and get Am Yisrael. Rashi explains that this refers to the people that the Anan spit them out. They weren't under the protection of the glory cloud. Am Yisrael normally were protected with the cloud, which is Hashem's protection. But over here, these people sinned. As soon as they sinned, they lost protection. The cloud threw them to the back of the camp without its protection. And therefore, Amalek senses that from far away. There's some people that are loners here. They don't have protection. They don't even have anything to stand for because they are strange. When a person is strange in a way, over here they were sinning. When a person is strange, that attracts that bully much quicker, much faster. He loves that. He goes after that. That's exactly what happened here. Says Rashi, כל הנחשלים אחריך חסרי כוח מחמת חטאם שהיה ענן פולטם. Perfect timing for Amalek to run after Am Yisrael. Therefore, because Amalek is after the weak, is after those that are defenseless, Kadosh Baruch Hu says, Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek b'derech b'tzetchem mitzrayim. These are the most hated people by Hashem's eyes. When you go after somebody who can't stand to you, who can't defend himself, that is when you go and get him. That's nothing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu would forgive. And we found that very idea in Parashat Mishpatim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Kol yatom ve'almana lo te'anun. You're not allowed to abuse, you're not allowed to pain the orphan and the widow. Not the orphan and not the widow. Says Rashi, Kol adam. Any person you're not allowed to pain. But those, says Rashi, are more likely to be abused, more likely to be taken advantage of, more likely to be pained. Somebody would go after them because they are more defenseless than others. And therefore, because of that, the Torah warns on them specifically. And that's exactly our point. When you have somebody who's weak, many people, normal people, would try to help those people. You have somebody who needs help, you normally would love to go and try to help them in any possible way you can. But there are those that are not regular. There are the bullies, there are the predators. They're looking for those almana and yatom. They're looking for the orphan and the widow, because that is something that's more likely to take advantage of, to harass, to abuse, because they are defenseless. Therefore, the Torah says, be careful not to be such that goes after them. But the Torah also knows that such people would not care about what the Torah says. So it's a lav deoraita. But the need over here for them is much greater than listening to the Torah. They have the Ezra to go after them. So therefore, the Torah over here strengthen the punishment very much. And it says, "Va'ayu bnechem neshechem almanot uvnechem yetomim." The Torah says, if a person goes after them, after those weak people that are defenseless, you should know that the punishment is extremely harsh. Your children would be orphans as well. Your wives will be widows as well. They have Hashem promise that whoever goes and hurts them will be punished. We learn from our Parashat and other places in the Torah how much the Torah despises the bullies. And every person needs to open his eyes and see, is your child being bullied? How would you know? You see that the child doesn't come back home as happy as he was before. The shine is not on his face. He becomes a little bit less self-confident. You see that the self-esteem becomes weaker. You see that he doesn't want to go to school, for example, if you suspect it happens in school. All those things should light a red light and send a message to you. We have to investigate, we have to find out, because if you leave it untreated, those things become worse and worse and worse, and the person himself breaks down, and it's permanent damage to such people. And therefore you have to stop it as soon as you even suspect that you go, and you have to speak to the Rabbi, and you have to speak to the teachers, and you have to speak to the principal, and you have to find out. The first person you speak to is the child himself, but many times the children are hesitant to speak. Sometimes they're terrified, they're afraid that the person is going to get them if he speaks out. Therefore you have to find all the means to make sure that your kid is not being bullied. But it's not only in schools that people are being bullied. Many times it's with relationship, men and wives. One of the spouses is being bullied by the other. One needs to open his ears and eyes to make sure and that this does not happen in any possible way. If it starts happening, it has to be treated right away, because it only grows worse and worse by time.